Hello, everybody. Wiley Larson here again with ASU Venture Development and the Entrepreneurship and Innovation team. Today's class is T3. It's Channels and Customer Relationships as part of our Test Your Business Model series for entrepreneurs and startups.
I think we can make it, right?
It's okay, Jim. Just stay calm and move as quietly as possible. Everyone understand? No sudden movements.
Google search, Bodega Beach House.
So this is one of my favorite commercials. This was a Super Bowl commercial a couple of years ago. As drones are becoming more and more prevalent, one of the things that really hasn't been prevalent in those conversations is what happens in a bad science fiction movie when these drones take over and come against us. We've seen a few movies, iRobot and some others that have sort of explored this science fiction idea of creating drones that end up becoming autonomous and going to war against the human race. And this commercial for Audi, which is talking about how package delivery drones could come work against us, I just think was a really great commercial, and I always enjoy that. And I talk a lot about that during my channels lecture, because channels, when everybody thinks about channels, we talk about the question, how will we deliver? And the question, when we say how will we deliver, we really want to talk about how do we deliver our message. So channels is less about a UPS truck or a FedEx truck. I'm not even sure a truck is the right icon for this particular block of the canvas, because it does just tell us, hey, this is how we deliver our product. But really, as I mentioned a second ago, channels is about how we deliver our message. That's what's really, really important for this particular block. So if you just have FedEx in your channels block, we've got a lot of work to do. But I'm going to teach you how to do that today in a way that makes sense. This box is about communication. This box is about sales. And it is about distribution, but what we're really going to talk about today has to do with communication. So let's go back, 60 years now, to 1955. I'm old enough that I can actually remember when the milkman would come to our house, let himself in the back door, put a couple gallons of milk in the back fridge, and then maybe say, "Hi, Larsons, how are you?" and then let himself back out of the house. It's kind of crazy to think about that now today. But our channels back in 1955, or maybe not that long ago, but we would actually pick up the phone and call the dairy. You would talk to a person. You'd place an order. The milk would be delivered weekly, and more often than not, you'd leave cash or maybe a check right there in the fridge or in the milk box. Things have changed a lot since 1955. Back to my day when I was a kid in the mid-'80s, there was this catalog called Things You Never Knew Existed. Now, all kinds of worthless junk that I would spend my allowance on. But how did I find out about this catalog? Well, I saw the ad for the catalog in the back of a comic book. So I found the address. I requested a catalog through the mail, which they sent me for free. And I'd go through the pages and pages and pages of Beam Me Up Scotty t-shirts and whoopee cushions and whatever other kind of junk was listed in there. And spend my hard-earned lawn mowing money to fill out the order form and mail that check in to wherever the company was located. Typically wait 6 to 8 weeks, just every day running out to the mailbox to see if my package had arrived. And then after 6 or 8 weeks, the Postal Service would deliver my whoopee cushion. Things have still changed since even 1985. So here we are, 2015, 2016, 2017. It's crazy. We can go to Amazon.com, pull up the product that we want instantly. We can order and pay even in one click. And a lot of times the order arrives to us in a day or even less than an hour or two in certain cases. There goes my drone delivering my package right there. So we think about how far we've come in the last 50, 60 years when you used to have a newspaper ad or something that would come out weekly or maybe daily. You'd pick up the phone, you'd order the product, and now here we are in 2017 with a website, pull up exactly the product that we want, find the lowest price, free shipping, and it can arrive in an hour or two. It's absolutely amazing how technology has changed. What does this tell us about channels? Communication has really changed a lot in even the last 10 or 20 years. But what we really want to talk about here in terms of communication are the awareness, interest, consideration, and purchase steps of communication. So anytime we make a major purchase, maybe a small purchase, maybe $10 isn't going to apply to this, but in a big purchase like a $100 pair of sunglasses or a car or a computer or a television, there's a lot of mental steps that many of us go through before we make that purchase. We have to become aware that the product is available. We have to have interest in that product, and we have to see interest from other people, kind of a social interest for that product. I don't want to buy a car if my circle of friends doesn't think that's the right car to drive. Or I don't want to buy a certain type of sunglasses or a certain type of television unless I think that that's going to, elevate my social status or be approved by my circle of friends. Consideration is the data piece of this process. So there's a lot of numbers as we go through in our head to make sure that this is the right purchase that we make. We don't want to spend too much. We don't want to spend too little. We want to make sure that this product solves our problem. That's all a part of the consideration process. And even then, if it's something that we like, something that our friends like, and something that solves our problem, that may not be enough to actually get us to pull the trigger and click that Buy It Now button on the website. There may be one or two other things that we have to do that finally say, you know what, this is the right time to make this purchase. So we're going to talk about all of those things as we go through our channels discussion today. Many of you, if you've followed some of the videos offered by Steve Blank and Alexander Osterwalder and some of the other experts in the field, you're familiar with this image right here. This is what we call the Get, Keep, Grow funnel. And what we're going to talk about in T3 today, in this part of our Test the Business Model class, is we're going to talk exactly about what the Get, Keep, Grow funnel looks like. And when we talk about channels, that's really what we're talking about in terms of awareness. And that is the get part of our Get, Keep, Grow process. And so for awareness, just like we talked about earlier, awareness is, hey, I think this is cool. This is something that I might want or might need. Interest is, I would describe this as somebody else thinks that this is a cool product. This is something that other people would also be interested in. The consideration is, does this solve my problem? Is this something that I really, really need and want to spend my hard-earned money on? And then the final purchase question is, I really want this. What's going to make me pull this trigger right now, today? I think there's a statistic out there that there are billions and billions of dollars left in the shopping cart on Amazon that people put in the cart, but they don't pull the trigger on that particular time. So as founders, you need to think about, how do I make sure that I get that customer to pull the trigger and make that payment right there while it's fresh in their mind, rather than if they say, oh, I'm going to wait, and then they never come back and make the purchase. So there's a lot of steps in the get customer funnel. We're going to talk about how those things work today. I don't know if any of you are baseball fans, but I was really excited a couple of years ago when my favorite Kansas City Royals had a run where they got to the World Series game in 2014, and then in 2015 they actually won the whole thing. So what you see here is a picture of the Kansas City center fielder, Lorenzo Cain. And he's going back right there to potentially make a catch that could be a maybe game-saving or certainly a run-saving out right back at the fence that could turn into the opponent's a home run. The second image we see here is that Lorenzo has actually had to reach over the wall to try to make that catch. We don't know yet if he made it or not, but as we see the third picture, according to the reaction of the Kansas City Royals pitching staff, it looks like he made the catch. And so for those of us that are baseball fans, this is a really, really exciting Sports Center top play type of scenario. And for a center fielder and for a team like the Kansas City Royals, we want to emulate that. We want to wear the jerseys, and we're big fans. And as fans of the Royals, we're also fans of a lot of the products that they also use. So what we see here is that our center fielder, Mr. Cain, is wearing a pair of sunglasses. And those sunglasses are shown through Sports Illustrated magazines. They're on SportsCenter Top Plays. They're on the telecast when the game is live. And what this does for Oakley, a sunglasses company, is that generates a lot of awareness. You don't see a whole lot of logos in this picture other than the Oakley logo on the sunglasses and the Majestic apparel logo on the side of his shirt. So through these types of relationships, Oakley and Majestic are able to gain awareness of people like me who are fans of baseball and the Kansas City Royals. So in a lot of cases, awareness is likely to be some type of paid advertising. Now, those sunglasses probably don't cost Oakley as much as what we pay for them in a retail price. And I would guess that many of the players on many baseball teams probably don't pay anything for those sunglasses. In a lot of cases, Oakley or Nike or Majestic are giving away these products for that awareness or that exposure that they're getting through the pages of Sports Illustrated and the telecasts on ESPN and on television. So in a lot of cases for all businesses, awareness is likely to be earned or paid media. This is where we have to sometimes open up our wallets in order to get that awareness so that our customers know that we're there. What this does also, kind of a 2-for-1 in this particular type of scenario, because one of my favorite baseball players wears these sunglasses, I know that, hey, that's a cool thing. I like those sunglasses too. My favorite players like those sunglasses. And so there's an interest that's generated there because not only am I aware of those sunglasses, but now I'm interested because people that I like or people that I want to be like use those types of products. So interest is that social piece. Those are your likes that you might get on your Facebook page or media attention that may come from other people who are using your product. The third step in this channel process is consideration. Now, for guys like me, that's a lot of money to pay for a pair of sunglasses. And so I have to ask my question before I justify whether or not I'm going to make this purchase. I need to make sure that this solves my problem. So I do a little bit of research. This was a little tricky, but I think about, okay, I live in Arizona. We have like 350 days of sunshine here in Arizona. Does this solve my problem? And so I pulled up a little bit of a data here online from Mayo Clinic that says, answers the question, when you're choosing sunglasses, does ultraviolet protection matter? And the article says simply in the first word of the article, yes, ultraviolet eye protection matters. UV radiation from the sun can damage not only the skin of your eyelid, but also the cornea, lens, and other parts of the eye. So if I'm going to buy an expensive pair of sunglasses, I want to make sure that those sunglasses not only look good and are approved by my friends and family, but I also want to make sure that those sunglasses solve my problem. So I'm able to find a little bit of data right there to be able to do that. But the final question is, you know what? This is an expensive purchase. This is a major purchase for me. What's going to get me to actually buy that set of sunglasses today as I look them up on Amazon, rather than leave them in my inbox and not make the purchase? So Oakley sunglasses can be very difficult to find sales on. They typically don't go on sale. But what I've noticed here online is that the price is only $135 if I buy it right now, and I get free shipping, and I might even be able to get those sunglasses later today or first thing tomorrow. So having them be at a $14 discount from what would be retail, I'm going to say, you know what, that price may not hold. I'm going to go ahead and click the Buy It Now button right now. And then we all win the championship, right? So as you can see in this picture, teams who win championships have gotten a little bit smarter, and they now wear ski goggles for the big champagne celebration in the locker room. And if you notice in this picture, there's a whole lot of Oakley goggles that have been provided to the Kansas City Royals for their celebration, which is another way that that sunglasses company has generated awareness. So as we look at this, not only are there 4 different steps that most customers have to go through before they make a major purchase, there's also different types of customers. Here you have an example of Rogers bell curve, where we have the enthusiasts. These are your friends that always have the newest iPhone, and the people who always have the newest car and the newest technology. Whatever is the first thing to come out, they're the first ones to buy it. These are your innovators or your technology enthusiasts. In our customer segments, we all have enthusiasts that are going to be those first people who download our app or purchase our product. We don't want to base our entire marketing strategy, our entire channel strategy on those enthusiasts, because they're going to be the easiest customers to get. When it gets really, really difficult, we have to have strategies to get those customers as well. The second group are your visionaries. These are also early adopters, but really between your innovators and your early adopters, you're only looking at about 15 or 16% of your customer segments. Then we have the chasm, where we get to the pragmatists and the conservatives are the difficult ones, and also the bulk of the people that we want to try to reach. 68% are the early and the late majority. So this is where we really have to think about, just because we got 100 or 1,000 downloads of our app, we have to think about how do we get that next 1,000 and that next 10,000. So as you do your customer discovery, you have to think about, what type of customer am I talking to right now? Is this an innovator? Is this an early adopter? Is this a late majority? Or is this a skeptic? Is this somebody that will maybe never adopt this new technology? Getting across this chasm is a really, really big part of making sure that we can get the traction we need to have a successful company. So as you may be thinking, well, this is really interesting. I want to learn more about this. So you can go to Amazon and you can buy this book by Mr. Rogers, The Diffusion of Innovation. It looks like right here the book is about $28, or you can get it used for about $8.55. You can get free shipping, and it's in stock. So all you have to do is one-click buy, order it now, and you can have this book within an hour or within the day. So as I look at this website, I'm kind of looking around, and I notice that right here on Amazon has done a really, really good job of creating awareness. They've generated interest, which is the social category. They're talking about a description of the product where we can determine whether or not we're going to solve the problem. And they've also got strategies to get us to buy it now, whether it's free shipping or only a few left at this price. Amazon does a great job with their channels of talking about awareness, interest, consideration, and closing the purchase. And as I look at the Amazon webpage, I happen to notice here up at the top that there's a DeWalt drill. It says Father's Day savings on DeWalt drills. And so now, all of a sudden, I'm thinking about DeWalt drills. So as we look at awareness, which is paid or earned media, if you pull up Amazon right now today, I would bet you that you're going to see some type of product in that upper right-hand corner of the website. That is a way where Amazon is able to offer to their customers a way to generate awareness. So no matter what type of product you happen to be buying on Amazon today, all of a sudden, if you're like me, I'm thinking about drills. And so another great example of paid media to help generate that interest, consideration, and closing the sale. So my questions for you are, what are your strategies for reaching your visionaries and early adopters? What's your earned and paid media that you're going to use? How do you generate that social interest through media or likes? Justifying and getting that consideration. Does your product solve the problem for your customers? How do you translate that? How do you communicate that to the customers? And then the final question is, what makes your customers pull the trigger right now? I want to buy the product to solve the problem that I have. One of the other examples of purchase and getting customers to pull the trigger, you go to if you've purchased an airline ticket lately, the airline industry has done a great job of saying only 4 seats left at this price, only 2 seats left at this price. More than any other industry, that is one that I really, really pay attention to. If you're like me, you're the same way. They do an excellent job of getting you to pull the trigger on that airline ticket right there, right then and there. So think about your strategies, not only for your visionaries and your early adopters, but also your pragmatists and your conservatives. These are the folks that you really have to win over if you're going to get traction. And you may actually have to have different strategies for each of your customer segments and each type of customer within that customer segment. So take a few minutes, jot down some awareness, interest, consideration, and closing the purchase or I want it strategies for one of your particular customer segments, and you'll realize that there's a lot more to channels than just delivering my product with a drone or with a FedEx truck. So as we look at the last 60 years or so of channels, whether we're calling up the milkman and saying, hey, I need an extra gallon of milk this week, and having them deliver it, or whether it's a UPS or a FedEx truck, or whether it's even an Amazon truck, or even an Amazon drone, there's a lot more to channels than just delivering the product. What does that look like 30 years from now? Maybe we just have a 3D printer that's owned by Amazon that sits in our house that we can just print whatever we need. Those days are not as far away as we might think. But as you put together your channel strategy, and there's probably not enough room on your canvas, but you need to think about a chart like this that says, what are my awareness, interest, consideration, and purchase strategies for my innovators, my early adopters, my pragmatists, and even my skeptics? And if you can present this to an investor, to somebody that wants to join your team, that communicates to those folks that you've given a lot of thought on how you're going to approach your marketing strategy. And as you go to write a business plan, you can take each one of these topics and each one of these sections and go through and put together a 3 to 4 page paper on here's how our marketing strategy looks, here's how we generate awareness, interest, consideration, and purchase for all different types of customers within our customer segments. It's going to give you a very thorough and comprehensive marketing plan for your startup. Remember, the single necessary and sufficient condition for a business is a paying customer. And whether you're a for-profit or a nonprofit, whether you're a social cause or a greedy capitalist like many of us, right? You have to have a paying customer. And whether that payer is the same as the user, that's what we use the business canvas to figure out. And how we win over those payers and those users is what the channels box is all about. That's the get customer part of our get, keep, grow funnel. We're going to talk more about how to keep customers and how to grow customers in the next section of this talk, which is customer relationships. Customer relationships, I've seen a lot of business model canvases where teams have come to me and said, yes, we've got customer relationships. We're going to have a newsletter, or we'll call and check up on our customers every once in a while. And those are great strategies, but we want to give you some tools through this part of the T3 class that will help you with how to increase revenues from a particular customer and actually find other ways to get more customers through customer relationships. So we talked last time a little bit about our channels. This was the truck box right here that helps us deliver our message to our customers. Right above that on the business model canvas is our customer relationships section. And this is the right time to talk about this in terms of our get, keep, grow customer funnel. So hopefully at this point, we have identified and validated our primary 3 or 4 customer segments. You've brainstormed maybe 10, maybe 20 different customer segments. You've drilled down into those organizations and found out who exactly are the people at those organizations that you need to be talking to. And you're finding out how big of a problem is that. And then you've talked about what are the value propositions for my startup, okay? At this point, hopefully we've articulated our value propositions by using data and numbers. And we want to communicate how much better we are than our competition. And there's always competition. Even the status quo or the lack of a technology or a solution is competitive. It's very, very difficult to get our customers to change their habits. That's why we have to have data and numbers that communicate how much better we are than our competitors. We've also talked about our channels, how we deliver our message using awareness, interest, consideration, and purchase strategies. These are all very, very specific things that we can go out and talk to our customers about what it takes to become one of their clients. And these are all things that we want to be thinking about as we're doing customer discovery. So as we talk about customer relationships, we want to know how we're going to keep and how we're going to grow our customer base. Here's the loop that I just mentioned, the get, keep, grow funnel. We talked about how earned and paid media can generate awareness. Awareness can generate interest. Interest can generate consideration, and hopefully consideration is going to help us close that sale. What we're talking about now with our customer relationships is how we keep customers and how we can grow the amount of revenue that we get from each one of those customers. What we know is that it's cheaper to keep a customer than it is to get a new customer. And so the more customers that we can keep and hopefully expand, the more efficient we're going to be with our revenues. As we talked about last time, awareness, I think it's cool. Interest, somebody else thinks it's cool. Consideration, does this solve my problem? And purchase, what makes me pull the trigger and click that buy it now button. So we're now on their radar. They probably get our emails, they notice our advertising, and they're constantly evaluating our product's performance. We don't want to lose those customers. That's what customer relationships is about. So as you look here and we zoom in a little bit on the funnel, we see 4 different items that can help us keep customers. We see loyalty programs. We see product updates. We can see customer satisfaction surveys, and we can actually do customer check-in calls. Some of these things are a little bit old school. It's probably been a long time since I've received a call from somebody who said, how was the product you received from us? Some of these old school tactics are really a great way to keep our customers interested and know that we care about them, which then keeps them as customers. So right now, we're going to talk about the keep strategies. Now, many of you probably have a key ring that looks like this. I hate these things, right? But these are the loyalty programs that we talk about that keep us coming back to the different grocery stores and sporting goods stores and electronic stores that we go to. So you may know your cost of customer acquisition, but think about what's the lifetime value of one customer. We don't talk about keeping a customer as often as we should. And one of the movies that I think about here all the time is this movie, The Untouchables, with Sean Connery and Kevin Costner. I'll show you this clip here real quick.
You said you wanted to know how to get Capone. Do you really want to get him? You see what I'm saying? What are you prepared to do?
Everything within the law.
And then what are you prepared to do? If you open the ball on these people, Mr. Nash, you must be prepared to go all the way. Because they won't give up the fight until one of you is dead.
I want to get Capone. I don't know how to get him.
Want to get Capone? Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. And that's how you get Capone.
I love this clip. How far are you prepared to go? In this scene, Elliot Ness is like, I'm prepared to do everything within the law to get Al Capone. And then Sean Connery says, and then what are you going to do, right? As founders, as people who have businesses, I want to ask you, how far are you prepared to go to keep a customer happy? And I want to introduce you to a guy that I met here at Arizona State University. He's from back east and he has a bike shop called Zane Cycles. This is Chris Zane, and of all the people that I've met, he goes further to keep a customer than any business owner I've ever met. So when he started his business, he had to compete with the big box stores like Target and Walmart. They're selling bicycles for $75 assembled. He loves bicycles. He's loved bicycles since he was a little kid, but he's not selling $75 bicycles. He's selling an experience, and he's keeping his customers in his store so that they continue to be his customers for the lifetime. He said, how do I compete with the big box stores? He has great atmosphere. He has a crazy service plan. He does whatever it takes to get the customer to buy the next product from him. And he goes beyond what your customer believes is reasonable. That's a great way to keep your customers happy, is to go beyond what their expectation is if you need to do a service recovery situation. When we talk about companies that have great atmosphere, companies that we think of are Starbucks. We think of In-N-Out Burger. We think of Trader Joe's, and even Quick Trip. For coffee shops, grocery stores, fast food, and even gas stations, these are all companies that do a great job with atmosphere. Companies that have lousy atmosphere, Walmart, Postal Service, Blockbuster's not even around anymore because they had all these walls and walls of video cassettes. And even, some of our favorite convenience stores here in town don't have the best atmosphere. Okay? We also think about having a great service plan as the second aspect of this. Zappos has a great service plan. They free returns on any shoes that you buy from Zappos. Okay? Discount Tire, anytime you have a flat, they'll fix it for you for free. LL Bean, any product that you buy from them, if it wears out, they'll replace it for you for free. And BMW, you buy a car from them, you've got a free service plan, oil changes, checkups for at least 3 years. I'm not even sure what the service plan is there. But these are all companies that have great customer retention because they have great service. Some customer service in the rankings that are all public. Some of the big box stores that we've mentioned before. Gap, surprisingly, has terrible customer service, some of the poorest ratings. Some of the big banks that we have around are not the best customer service, and airlines typically have a very, very bad customer service rating as well. Best customer service, Amazon, Costco, USAA, Southwest Airlines. These all have ratings that are on the positive side. The best retailers and the best service industries, the best insurance companies that have great customer service. The worst customer service, again, we're naming names here today. TV service providers, credit card issuers, health insurance providers typically rate the lowest or have negative customer service. We've all been on the phone waiting for a customer service representative to try to solve our problem. It's very, very frustrating. We want to make sure that we create businesses that have great customer service so that we can retain our customers. So how did Chris compete with the big box stores? He has great atmosphere, a crazy service plan. He creates lifelong customers, and he goes beyond what the customer believes is reasonable. So did you know, who would have ever thought of a coffee bar inside a bicycle shop? Chris Zane put one in his bicycle shop, and he did this for a couple of reasons. He said that when you give a customer a free cup of hot coffee, they move around slower and they stay in the shop longer. That leads to sales. They're browsing, they're moving slow, they're looking at things, and they're holding that cup of coffee, and you gave them something for free, which they appreciate. So having a coffee shop inside a bike shop is one crazy way that Chris Zane keeps his customers. And he also mentioned that the smell of hot coffee and brand new rubber is kind of an interesting smell as well. Chris also has a great service plan. So if there's anything in terms of a flat tire or a minor part, anything that costs him less than $1, he gives away for free. He doesn't want to charge customers for little tiny things. He wants them to keep coming back, and he fixes their tires for free because he wants to give them a cup of coffee, and hopefully they'll buy something while they're in there. So having a great service plan and having people fix problems for their customer is a great way to keep customers coming back. Creating lifelong customers. I think we probably all remember the different times in our life when we got a new bicycle, whether it was for birthday or for Christmas. In a child's life, this is a monumental experience. This is something that we remember our entire lives. So he wants to create lifelong customers by giving his past customers the same experience for their children as well. And so by creating these lifelong customers, he's getting children to buy from him and their children to buy from him as well. Other advice that Chris offers, he says, make sure you know what business you're in. Are we in the drill making business or are we in the hole making business? For DeWalt, their problem that they solve for their customers is their customers need a hole in a piece of wood or in a piece of metal. So always thinking about how do we solve the problem for our customer instead of saying, how do we manufacture and sell more of our product? If you think about the customer first and remember what business you're in, whether you're the hole making business or the drill making business, that can make a difference in how you approach your customers. Changing the rules on your competition. As you go back 10, 12, 15 years, one of the first hotels to offer free breakfast was Holiday Inn Express. Now, here we are 15 years later, and I'm actually kind of mad that I have to pay for breakfast at some hotels that I stay in. Holiday Inn Express completely changed the rules, and all of those diners and cafes that used to make money right there on the first floor of those hotels, many of them have gone out of business because everybody expects a free breakfast now. And I love those cinnamon rolls too. Telling the customers the whole story. Okay, so if you're inflating your tires to 40 PSI, make sure your customer knows what PSI stands for. Why is it important to have 40 pounds of pressure in those tires? So he trains his employees to be friendly with the customers and to explain to them what's important about the bike and maintaining the bike. These are things that you don't get at the big box stores. Planting seeds. Chris sponsors baseball teams in his community. He gives away free bike helmets during safety awareness days. He does any tactic that he can to become a good philanthropic member of the community. And by giving away a free bicycle helmet to a kid who needs one, that kid remembers that Zane Cycles provided that helmet and cared about his safety. And planting seeds with young people and keeping them coming back is a great way to keep those customer relationships going. What's that mean for Zane Cycles? That means his lifetime value of one customer is $12,500. By taking that awesome experience that we all have getting a bicycle as a child and keeping that customer through their adult lives until their customers have children and those children have children, he can earn over $12,000 through multiple bicycles through the life of one of his customers. And as startups, we want to think about how can we create a lifelong customer that completely offsets that cost of customer acquisition. So your homework is to write down 5 of your closest competitors and how each one falters in their service model. Also, write down 5 ways that your service model can supplement your business model. And consider how these numbers work financially. Does it cost something to give away a free tube, a free bicycle tube, or to give away a free bicycle helmet? Of course it does. But when you think about the long-term full scope of that lifelong customer, you'll find that those things will really, the good things and the positive customer service models will usually outweigh what it costs you financially to do that. His strategy is to bury the competition with customer service. And as you think about your customer relationships, I challenge you to think of ways that you can do that as well. So that's part of our Keep Customer section where we create loyalty programs. We can do customer satisfaction surveys. We can do product updates through our new versions of our software. Is a great way to remind our customers that we're there. And maybe the last time you bought a car, you got a call from that salesman a week later that says, hey, how's the car working out for you? Are there any problems? That's a good way to get your customers coming back. And when was the last time you called one of your customers to say, how is that product working out for you? That's a great way to keep your customers and to keep them in mind for different things that you might have to offer. And that brings us to the grow loop. So if we have a little bit of paid and earned media that helps us get customers, and we do all the right things to keep our customers, can we grow our customers? And this section of the funnel talks about how we can unbundle our product, how we can upsell our product, how we can cross-sell our product, and how we can get referrals from our existing customers. Just like when we do customer discovery, where we use one interview to have them recommend other people that we can interview, we want to have that same viral growth as we create lifelong customers. So let's talk a little bit about some of these terms. Unbundling is the first section of our grow portion of our customer relationships. What unbundling means is we can add on features and benefits for additional cost. This is very similar to what most of us call the freemium model. We give them the app for free, but if they want a certain amount of data or they want certain features and benefits, they have to pay extra. This is a great way to increase the amount of revenue that we can get from our existing customers. In the car industry, a lot of times you can get the base model, but you may also want power windows, power locks, and automatic transmission. That was in the old days. Now we've got all kinds of other things that we can unbundle in the car industry. Maybe you want leather seats, sunroof, a nav system, heated seats, or a rear backup camera or sensor. Unbundling all of these things, as you look at the invoice for a new car, every one of these things has a value, and if we want a car with specific features, we have to pay extra. It's not that base price that we see on the commercials where the car starts at $22,000. All of these things are extra, which add up and help us create more revenue for the company. So here's an example here of a car commercial that describes just that process.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nelda.
I'm John. We invited you here today to get your honest opinion about this new car. To keep things unbiased, we removed all the badging and logos. So what do you think it is?
I would say Lexus, maybe Acura.
Feels like a BMW.
Let's look at the interior.
Reminds me of the inside of my friend's Lexus.
So this car supports Apple CarPlay.
Siri, open maps.
Nice.
She gets me.
Someone really took their time laying this out.
Yeah.
This car also has teen driver technology. It even mutes the radio until the seatbelts are buckled. Wow.
My husband could use that.
I'm very curious what it is.
What price range would you put this car in?
50 to 65.
The $80,000 bracket.
Well, what if I told you this is the 2016 Chevy Malibu?
This is a Malibu?
Yeah, let's go check it out.
No way, it's a Chevy.
And it sells for?
It starts at $22,500.
What?
Oh, wow.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, all this technology.
That's a game changer, really.
I want one.
I'll take the house, too.
A second tactic is upselling, and we've all experienced this as customers. But going back to our car example, maybe it's time for a new truck. My truck's got about 200,000 miles on it. I love my truck, right? My truck's a Chevy, but it's probably getting time where I'm gonna need to buy a new truck. So if I go down to the car dealership, if the salesperson I'm working with is good, he's probably gonna try to upsell me to the next model. So as I look at the truck, I say, well, yeah, this is a really nice truck. This solves my problem, right? It's got a bed where I can haul plywood and other things, lawnmowers and whatever I need around the house. Can it pull a trailer? Sure. It's got a radio. Maybe it's got powered windows and power door locks. These are all things that I want, but obviously that's the low base model of the truck. So he's probably come along to me and say, I can see you're a guy that really, really likes quality. Let me show you this GMC over here on the other lot. So we walk from the Chevy lot to the GMC lot. Now we've got a 4-door extended cab. It's got a bed liner. It's got custom rims. It's got leather seats. And he's like, I really think you ought to take a look. And the last thing I want to do as a customer is sit in that truck, because I know that those leather seats are going to be way more comfortable than the cloth seats. And that navigation system and stereo system is going to blow away the factory system in the Chevy. And I know that the legroom in the back is going to be really great for not only hauling around my tools, but also hauling around friends and family. Now I'm not just thinking about what do I need to haul around plywood. I'm thinking about, this is going to be great to go tailgate at that ASU football game next Saturday. So I've just been upselled. And if I start to fall for that, then he may even want to go the next step. Well, if you really want to tailgate in class, let's go over to the Cadillac lot. Here's this Escalade. It's got 3 rows. It seats 9 because, you want to take all your friends to the game. You've got room for the cooler and the grill in the back, all of your friends, sunroof. This is the way to go if you really want to use that truck to tailgate and not just haul around plywood. And now I'm thinking, wow, this is really the truck that I want. I've totally been upsold there. So I think we've all had that type of experience. The cross-selling is even an extension of the upselling. A really, really good salesperson will say, Wiley, as soon as you take that Escalade home, your wife, she drives it once, you're never going to drive that thing again. So let's look at something for you. And now we're back to the truck. So cross-selling is actually taking, if you're interested in this product that solves this problem, We can also solve another problem with another product, which is what this salesperson has just done to me in this example. So in addition to upselling, which is we go from one type of product to the next, one brand to the next, from Chevy to GMC to Cadillac, now we're talking about, okay, here's an SUV that solves one type of problem. Maybe you also need a truck that solves a different type of problem. And as people who are starting businesses, we need to think about how we can have our core technology that solves a problem for a customer, but maybe that customer has other problems that we can sell as well. And cross-selling talks about how we can grow our customer revenue through offering different types of products that solve different problems. And the third part of the funnel goes right back to our customer service piece. Okay? We want to make sure that our clients and our customers have a great experience. So one of the best ways to grow our customers is to let them refer that next batch of customers to us. So we want to make sure that certainly having some of us have had good car buying experiences, some of us have had bad car buying experiences. So you don't want to be too pushy, but as long as you're thinking about solving the problem for the customer, you'll have a good luck, I think, in using this process. And that will hopefully lead to referrals, which means when I hear my neighbor saying, you know, I love your new truck, where did you get that? And I can say, hey, I talked to my guy Frank, and he was great. He wasn't pushy. He made all the process follow me. He helped me solve my problem, and he got me a great deal. And that's what we want to do as business owners as well. So that is our get, keep, grow loop. And the question that we want to talk about then is, how does this talk about customer discovery? How does this relate to our business model canvas? As we get further and further into the customer discovery process, and we find out that our product is a must-have for certain types of customer segments, and we know that our value proposition resonates with those customer segments, the customer discovery process doesn't end there. We need to go to the next step. We need to say to those customers, when you find out about new products, where do you learn that? Do you see it on television commercials? Do you read it in publications or magazines? What are the types of ways where you get awareness for those new products? These are the questions that we can ask once we get to our interview number 40, interview number 50, interview number 60. The interview process doesn't start. Now doesn't stop. We need to continue to ask questions in our interviews about how our customers want to be sold, how they find out about new products, what keeps them getting a product from a certain company, and what other problems do they have that we might be able to solve. And all of that comes back to the business model canvas and our channels, how we deliver our message, and our customer relationships, which is how we keep our customers happy and how we grow the amount of revenue that we can get from each customer. How will you keep and grow your customer segments? You can keep your customers with great communication, great atmosphere, great service, and great loyalty. And you can grow your customers by unbundling features and benefits, by upselling, by cross-selling, and by getting referrals. And as you develop your business plan and your business model, these are the things that go into that customer relationships box. How do we do this? We ask our customers, what do they like? What do they hate? Why do they stay with their current solution to the problem? If you can go out this week and do 5 or 10 interviews and think about not only tell me about your problem, but tell me about how you learn about new products and services. What keeps you with a certain vendor or with a certain company? What do you do to what other problems do you have that are related to this particular solution? Do 5 to 10 interviews by next time, and you're going to learn some great things about how your customers want to interact with the companies that they work with. If you've got more questions about this, there's some great information online. Google Udacity, Steve Blank, Customer Relationships, Get, Keep, Grow. Watch the videos that they have on Udacity, and other resources will give you some really great ideas about how to do this for your startup. And that's Customer Relationships. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.